Hello, my Teaserking family. Sorry about that. I had an internet connection problem. Didn't happen on Saturday or Sunday. I don't know why it happened now. I don't know why they happen. If it happened every day, I might get the cable that Prophet says, but because it doesn't happen every day, why does it work on Saturday and Sunday, but not 12 o'clock on a Monday? I don't know. Anyway, we just did the baseball, so I'll go through that. I'm hoping that everybody got that. And then we're gonna look at I think we were looking at Egon yesterday. We'll go back to him, and we're talking brics and tariffs and debt and all that in the part one. So if you need to see that, and I can touch base on that. All right. Baseball. Cubs over 9, Pittsburgh under 8, the Mets under 9, Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Milwaukee over 9, 2 units, Seattle under 8. We got Detroit over 8. We got Philadelphia 2 units, 49ers under 7.5, 2 units, Oakland over 9.5, and Arizona over 10, 2 units. The bets: Milwaukee over 9, 2 units, Philadelphia 3 units, 49ers under 7.5, 2 units, and Arizona over 10, 2 units. And a lot of it's based on the way they're like Arizona and the Dodgers. The Dodgers were hitting. They lost 3 games to the Angels, which shows you why baseball is such a difficult. It's not the best team beats the worst team. It's a pitching matchup. Can you hit the pitcher? And every team's got some good pitching and some lousy pitching. So that's really where I derive Milwaukee over 9. They got 2 bad pitchers with 5 ERAs. Philly, on the other hand, has a good pitcher, and it's at Colorado, and Colorado just started to hit the last few days. Then the 49ers, they haven't been hitting, but they've been playing well in Arizona. Very strong lineup, as does the Dodgers, and very weak pitching, so they should score a lot. That's the method to the madness. We talked a lot about gold, the debt, and what's going on in Saudi Arabia, how that's going to affect everything. And basically, Saudi Arabia buying from us, it'll help the economy, of course, but so it helps the deficit a little. I mean, you get money, but not. You have too much. You're still way over in expense. So you're running a business. We're running an ice cream shop. So our costs are, let's say, 20,000 a month, but we're only making 10. So we're losing 10,000 a month. Here comes Saudi Arabia. We're going to buy, all this chocolate and vanilla ice cream. So yes, it helps sales, but doesn't make us profitable. I don't know. Are we going to get enough from them? This we don't know. And that's not going to help it'll help our deficit that we're losing money. It'll help that. But if we owe, we owe 10 million to the bank, it's not going to help the 10 million unless we make profit. So if it makes us profitable, so now we're making what? 15,000 instead. We need 10,000 a month. We're making 15,000. That'll help our debt, our deficit, because then we're making money. We can start paying down our debt, our deficit, but our debt's still there. And if we can make enough money, the more money we can make, then that will help pay down our debt, our credit cards, or pay our line of credit down. But you need to make profit to do that. And Saudi Arabia giving us 600 billion over so many years is not going to help. We're still going to have a deficit. We're still going to lose money each year. It'll be less, but it'll still lose money, and they'll still have the big debt. And we're not making enough to cover to start paying down the debt. I don't know how long it would take you to pay down 37 trillion anyway. You're not making $1 trillion a year, even with what Doggy's doing with all these findings of all the corruption in the government. Guess what? That's not going away because they got to pay the mafia and the banks. They got to pay them back, and that's all under the table. So that's what all these deals are. That's where the spend goes. It's just a big slush fund. Yeah, we'll just have the government print more money. We'll take it and we'll pay down the debt with it or a deficit. But they've got to make so much money to pay because you got over $1 trillion in interest alone to pay. Yeah, I just the thing didn't go away. Like if it just comes on for a minute and says your internet's disconnected or bad connection or whatever it says, then I'll stay on. But after it was almost 2 minutes, it's just easier to do that. But yeah, a little bit more. I wouldn't have come back because I would have just said, okay, that's enough. But we talked an hour and a half. I believe you got baseball, so I started with baseball, and we were going to look at basketball, but that's tomorrow, and that's it. So July 1st, it's a very big day. It'll be Basel III for gold and silver. Again, I don't know what this girl was talking about. She's out of her mind. And Mark McGuire and Egon both said yesterday, July 1st, is Basel III. So it's real and it's coming. So again, you get some idiot saying counter, but she's got no correct. It's not correct. So not really sure what she was looking at. Anyway, exciting morning. Let me just see something. All right. So July 1st will force them to cover when people want to take delivery of gold and silver. Gold's is already doing it, and you can see gold's up to 3,200. Well, let's take a look what it's at now. But that's because they did Basel III. They haven't done it in silver yet, where it's a tier one and it's done, and that's what they're doing. Let's see, gold. 32.23. It got up to 32.38, but it's okay in this range. So 32.29 basically. Why is it going down? It's just derivatives. It's not real. Silver 32.35. I think once you understand its derivatives, it's easier to understand because when people don't know and they just look at the price, see, I know I don't listen to this guy. Matthew Pfeifenberg is a salesman. Explains how tariffs. Yeah, okay, forget about it. The Trump Putin phone call, what we can expect. We can expect Putin to laugh and go, "What the hell are you doing?" Um, that's the thing. So, really, what we're looking at is when that happens, the price of silver to jump because they'll need to buy silver because Comex doesn't have silver, so they'll need to do it. Am I getting Daria here? So that's the thing, and that'll force the silver prices finally getting to $300-400 an ounce. But people don't know, so they just sit there and they go, "Well, silver doesn't move; it's at 32 an ounce." Without asking, I told you before. I went into an interview, and the guy says, "Do you have any questions?" And I said, "Do you understand why gold's 2,000 an ounce at the time?" And he says, "No, I don't." And I thought I should get up and leave, going, "Well, doesn't that don't you think about that? Isn't that shouldn't you know why you're a director of finance and something like gold and you don't even know what it is and why it's price fixed?" I should have lied. I didn't get the job, and I should have just got up and left, going, "You're too stupid to work for." I should have said that. Hey, New Wine. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Um, what would you like to know? We're kind of doing a part two because part one got fucked by the internet, but it was still an hour and a half. We went through baseball and a lot of Saudi Arabia and the BRICS and the COMEX. Um, again, the what Trump's trying to do with Saudi Arabia and Qatar was mostly selling weapons, making them buy weapons, because obviously whoever's controlling Trump is the military complex, and he gets the kickback from them, and so therefore he's going to want to do that. Um, so he's going as the salesman because he thinks he sells buildings in New York. So all of a sudden he can sell weapons to Saudi Arabia. So that's what he did. So I don't know what uh, if there was any other point of going. Saudi Arabia is selling a lot of their oil to China, so there's no petrodollar, as somebody suggested. These people come up with these fantasies. Oh, there is petrodollar. No, there isn't. Or I mean, there might be petrodollar, but what it means is you had to buy oil in dollars, but that's not the case because China's using yuan, and Russia has its own oil. So I don't know what they're talking about. And there's 40 members of BRICS. July 17th, they have their meeting in Brazil. They'll bring in the gold-backed currency. They're already using it. China and India and Russia will start using the gold-backed ruble. That's all set. They're going broke, so they are forced to do it. They don't want to piss off the U.S. because of their military, but I'm not going to go broke either, and that's why China's going broke. China's bankrupt, but oh, by the way, they got 60,000 tons of gold, so I guess they're not bankrupt, but they haven't put that into play yet. That's the ace up their sleeve. Oh, yeah, I got 60,000 tons of gold, so fuck off. So I don't know what's going on with the tariffs. The tariffs are a bad thing because they raise costs, which means you either raise prices, you go out of business, which hurts competition. So it's really stupid, the tariffs. They're going to we're already in a recession, a depression. Last time this came about was in the 1930s, and we were in a depression for 15 years until World War II ended. So there was heavy it was like 20% unemployment for 10 years. FDR, probably one of the worst presidents ever, as far as for economics, killed the country. You had soup lines and that. Why would we have soup lines? It's 19 in the 1930s for 10 years. I mean, it's like it was insanity. And the stock market had recovered before he even did all this shit. But as soon as he did the Smooth Hardly Tariff Act, and then all this government spending and increased taxes, and you took the gold, so now it wasn't backed by gold. You fucked everybody up. So not a good president at all. He was popular because he was just a good bullshitter, but he never did what he said he'd do. I'm going to come in and cut taxes and put us, keep us on the gold standard and free trade, and he did nothing of that. Yeah, we'll do a Smooth Hardly Tariff Act. How's that for free trade? So we're looking at the same thing now. Trump thinks that he'll get money to pay $37 trillion towards the $37 trillion debt by having tariffs. That's his thing. Oh, I'll get all this money in. But in reality, not going to happen. Again, as you raise cost, people cannot raise prices. So he's going to get far less income in than he's getting now. And tariffs are never good. They've never worked. I think we did a little bit in like the 1700s or early 1800s where we did tariff somebody for something, but because there was no income tax. Until 1914, there was no income tax here. You worked and we had gold-backed currency, and that's why we were so strong. And not a lot of war. We had the War of 1812 or whatever, and then a civil war. And they couldn't pay for it because you always need gold to pay for a war because you can't afford it. They're very expensive. So I don't know if the U.S. is trying to bankrupt Russia. Do they not realize they got 25,000 tons of gold also, or what? And they sell their oil. So I don't know what they're doing. I trust Putin a lot more than I trust Biden and Trump. But I think that's what they're trying to do with the Russians. But the Ukrainians, they have big time problem there. Their airports aren't open. It's just a very tough thing. So anyway, there's big problems. The defense contractors are trying to sell. The CIA has it in their mind that if they keep a war going, it gets rid of the recession. I don't know where they got that. It's totally wrong. The one guy tried to explain it like, well, then the defense contractors are hiring people and the people are spending money and that takes money out of the economy. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? No. A war does not help the recession because wars are very expensive. Even though we're not fighting it, if we're giving money to the Ukrainians, somebody's paying for the war and it's very expensive. And we're giving them weapons, so now we don't have weapons. I don't know, but it's very difficult. But understand the market. We control the market, which means we control what we're going to spend on. It's as simple as that. So if we say we're not going to spend on this, we don't. Right? If we determine what, Coca-Cola is $3.50, and if we say we're not going to spend it, it sits on the shelf, and they either lower the price or put it on sale 2 for $5 or something. Because the grocery store gets fucked if they don't move their items, they're fucked. They gotta turn their inventory. I never understood that analysis when you're analyzing inventory turns, and you're like, is that really a relevant thing? How fast do you turn your inventory? Well, it would all come back to how much is your prices. And that's instead of doing the inventory turn, just go, well, what prices are we selling our goods? And if the price is too high, we got to lower the price. Well, that's pricing. That's not have to worry about inventory. You won't move it if it's too expensive. So the inventory turn on a $35,000 Camry is 0. It's 1,000 days until we can turn our inventory. Yeah, probably because we're too expensive. And that's what a lot of companies don't understand, and a lot of people don't understand it either, is how strong we are controlling the markets. We can go in, and if butter's $5 a thing, we just don't buy it. Then it goes on sale for $3. I bought 3 of them when it went on sale for $3. I bought a lot of butter because I knew I ain't going to see it. And you can tell when a store's having problems, they put things on sale. Look for McDonald's and Burger King and those to go out of business because they're way too expensive. People aren't going to spend $50 at McDonald's. You don't want to spend $50 at Coney Island. So again, they can't raise their prices. As I said, I got an omelet Saturday and they wanted $12 for an omelet. You're out of your mind. I'm not paying $12 for that. It's not a fair trade for me. So that's kind of what I got to. All right, let's see if there's any. I think we can watch a little Mark McGuire. I hate this guy. What does this mean? You're not supposed to know this, but he doesn't tell you. Gold just dropped, but the Fed's next move because this guy is clueless. Who's dumping? Who's buying? Nobody's dumping. He's clueless. He's an idiot. What does this mean? Fed plan linked, gold and silver in massive trouble. Central banks just crushed gold and silver market. What are you talking about? The paper market, maybe? See, that's what he leaves off. It's the paper market that's crushed. The Fed plan leaked. What plan? They don't have a plan. Gold and silver in massive trouble. What I assume is paper, but he doesn't say that. So you got to watch the video and listen to this idiot. And he probably doesn't even say what he means anyway. So those are the ones I struggle with. Let's see, market share, personal. Just a second, I'm reading it. I don't know. It's too stupid to listen to. Well, that's a good one. Billy versus Reggie. All right, we were watching Egon yesterday. Let's pick it up where we left off.
My house is falling apart, but I don't have the kind of cash I need to fix it up. What should I do? Have you thought about
Nobody
saving it at all times?
A good point, Egon. I just thought about one point I can disagree with you because gold is not yet a mainstream topic. It is in uncharted territory. We have nominal highs touched 3,500, but it's far away, for instance, from the situation in 2011. But let me come back to this Fed dilemma. Because of Trump, he requests from Powell to lower the interest rates. President Trump again called on Jerome Powell to cut interest rates after threatening to oust the Federal Reserve chairman last week. There can be a slowing of economy unless Mr. Too Late, a major loser, lowers interest rates now. The president posted on his social media website Truth Social Monday morning this week, saying that preemptive cuts in interest rates are being called for by many. The president pointed to how Europe has already lowered rates 7 times and that Powell has always been too late. What other chance does Powell have? I think no chance. But one key driver of inflation is, of course, Trump himself with his tariffs. So I would suggest Powell.
Really? Trump and his tariffs cause inflation. No. And inflation is not prices. And this is where I get frustrated. He thinks Trump is raising costs, so that's going to raise prices, which is not true. And that's causing inflation, which is not true. Because inflation is the money supply and not the prices. And this is where I really get blown away and frustrated because they don't know what they're talking about. They're a bunch of fucking morons. And what do you don't listen to them? But I'm really trying to listen to Egon more than this guy. But that's the thing. So a little bit more of this. Maybe we'll get into this diagnosis of female. I think that'll go better for us.
Simply to step down and to leave it to others. But we have in Europe, Egon, for instance, the same problem. We have not imposed tariffs on anybody, but we waste money and we spend it for other stupid purposes. For instance, energy transition, war spending, etc. So each side of the Atlantic does stupid policy to drive inflation upwards.
Central banks should not exist, in my view. I've been saying that many times. And
They shouldn't.
have no
They're
purpose
bad for
whatsoever.
us.
Interest rates and markets should self-regulate, especially when it comes to rates, borrowing, and lending. If they
and that is the invisible hand. That's what should happen. Central banks should never exist. They're very much communist. They want to print money to zero because that's what they do all the time. And they look for things. And then that's what he's saying is they shouldn't exist. Let the market run it. That's laissez-faire economics at its point. The market controls the money, the interest rate, the prices, the cost, all done by the market. And if you just leave it alone, you would never have inflation, and you would never, you'd be on gold. You never have wars, and you never have inflation, and everybody live happily ever after. But we can't make it that easy. We can't be on gold. So let's go on this crap where we're gonna have the government run everything, and they run it into the ground because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. All right.
Regulated by, controlled by supply and demand, we wouldn't have these massive peaks and these massive bottoms that we are seeing now. And the bottom that we are going to see is going to be worse than ever in history. Well, Powell will not go, of course, and that's clear now. And even Trump said yesterday that because he can't afford another crisis with firing the whole of the Fed, that would just be the end of the dollar very quickly. And the U.S. economy. So he won't do that, and that's why the market went up yesterday. But nevertheless, rates are now cannot be controlled by the Fed. They try with the short rates, but the long rates are determined more by the market, and that there is an unlimited demand today and in the future for further financing of the U.S. deficits. And there is only one buyer of U.S. debt, and that's the Federal Reserve. That means the government issues the debt, and the Federal Reserve then prints more money, and that leads to higher inflation and higher interest rates.
See, he gets it. They print more money, which leads to inflation. Period. It's got nothing to do with prices. It's got everything to do with you print more money, it's worth less, so you got to pay more to get the Coke for now cost you $3.50 because you printed the money and it's worth less and less and less. But the inflation is the money printing, not what Coke's charging you. So he gets it. That's why we listen to him.
Very dangerous cycle that, in the end, as we said, could lead to hyperinflation. So I'm absolutely convinced that rates are not going to come down more than temporarily. The trend is up. The trend, I experienced the 70s, which was nowhere near as bad as today. We saw rates at 15 to 17% in many countries, and I told people many times on my first mortgage in the UK in 1973, I paid 21%. How many people could pay 21% on the mortgage today? Nobody. But that's what's going to happen. Maybe not that high, or maybe there will be that high. And the housing market is going to collapse, and the commercial property market is going to collapse, because that is a bubble anyway. And you cannot live with high interest rates. But the Fed and central banks will lose control of interest rates. Whatever Trump wants, he's not going to succeed, because the market will tell him that you cannot borrow unlimited amounts of money and at the same time have low or zero interest rates. It just doesn't work. The US will have a problem and they will suffer dramatically. The dollar will fall, the US economy will fall, the stock market will fall, bond market will fall, which means higher interest rates. And, a lot of the bubble assets will also come down. Just take private equity, for example. Private equity is also is another leverage Ponzi scheme that in the next few years is going to collapse also, in my view, because they have a lot of overvalued assets it only works, private equity, when the stock market goes up and you can sell off the investments. When you can't anymore and you have massive leverage, that industry will also have major problems. So that's just one. Property market, the same as we said. So, Jan, there is nowhere to go. There is nowhere to go. Gold is not the solution to all the problems.
Yes, it is.
But it is now changing its role from before having been seen as as an interesting relic. Now, in the last, especially since the 1970s, all of a sudden now is taking another role, partly because central banks outside the Western central banks, the BRICS countries, etc., they're all buying gold. And gold is going to become a reserve assets in the balance sheet, or is already, of central banks. So we have a permanent now re-rating of gold taking place, and that's going to last for many years. And I think that will lead to gold not looked upon as just another investment asset, but as real money again, and therefore as something that people will have to hold and the percentage will go from 0.5% to maybe 10% or more of financial assets in the world going into gold. On top of that, of course, we have Basel III, Jan. Now, gold is a tier 1 asset, which means it's equal to government bonds and equal to cash in the balance sheet of banks. But to me, that's just laughable, because gold is so far superior to cash, which goes down by the day, and government bonds have zero value, or will have zero value, because no government is ever going to repay the bonds. So therefore, gold is far superior to those two assets, and therefore the demand for gold will be so much increased in coming years. And that can only be supplied by not more gold mining, but higher gold prices. And that's what we're going to see.
And that's going to trigger silver, because you need the gold to get out of the dollar. And then when gold gets so expensive, because it's very limited, you'll look around and the only other thing you can buy, the only other lifeboat, is silver. And silver, as cheap as it is, then starts moving, because people go, oh, I can be okay with silver, then I'm going to buy it. And that's basically what happens. So gold goes up, gets too high, people can't afford it, they go to silver. Silver gets too high, well, that's the game. But gold is the other currency, is what you should own. I don't know why he keeps looking at 1%, 10% in the portfolio or whatever. I'm 100%. I'm 99%. The other 1% is this. In my portfolio, diversified, it's gold and silver. I mean, that's my diversified portfolio. Well, people just either they're stupid, or they just don't wake up to it, or they're just sitting in the stocks. And now I don't know why everybody jumped into Bitcoin, especially since it's not real. So I really can't understand that. Gold, like I said, I was talking about Bitcoin before. You hold this. You can have gold in your hands and silver, and you have this. This is yours. They can't take it away. But Bitcoin, what is it? As we've said, you don't know what it is. You can't even see it. You can't touch it. How is it real? This is the best Ponzi scheme I've ever seen. Bitcoin's somebody's actually paying $100,000 for it, which I don't believe. how is it going up? Who's buying it? Who has $100,000 to buy one Bitcoin? You don't even get it. It just, it's just amazing. They just don't understand it. And that's all you can say is, what are you going to do with it? So, good for Mark McGuire. And he said Basel III coming July 1st. So he says it and Mark McGuire say it. I don't get what this girl's talking about.
Houses of cards will come down, Egon, and as you said it already, gold is the place to be. I have here an article also from Yahoo Finance. Oh, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it says that gold has surpassed the Magnificent Seven stocks as the most crowded trade on Wall Street, as the precious metal surged to record highs this year.
Yeah, but that's a lot of ETFs. It's not physical. And the thing Egon misses when he's talking about portfolios, with all the inflation, the things are worth more, where gold hasn't really jumped up. So the rest of your portfolio went up because the dollars, everybody's a billionaire now, even though they're all broke. And so that's one reason that gold doesn't show on the portfolio. Let's go into this. I think we've covered Egon and gold enough. Carl Jung, he's a psychiatrist, brutal diagnosis of females. I think this is something that we have to watch. All right.
You weren't just lied to by movies, not just by love songs. You were lied to by something much deeper. Your own instincts. You were told women love purely, that they care no matter what, that their love is soft, safe, and unconditional. But what if that's not true? What if there's a hidden part of every woman, something ancient, something powerful, that watches you more closely than you realize? Carl Jung, one of the smartest psychologists in history, found something most men never see. Every woman has a shadow. And that shadow doesn't care about romance. It cares about survival. Not because she's bad, not because she's pretending, but because nature made her that way. And here's what no one tells you. The moment you show weakness, the moment you break down and hope for love, is the moment she starts to pull away. She changes. She tests you. She stops looking at you the same way. You blame yourself. But this isn't a mistake. It's a pattern. A game you didn't even know you were playing. But once you learn to see it, you'll never be fooled again. You won't beg for love. You'll become the man who can't be controlled. The myth of pure love. Since you were a little boy, the world gave you a picture of love. You saw it in movies, in love songs, in books, in stories your parents told you. You were taught that women are soft, that they are full of care, kindness, and warmth. That when a woman cries, it's because she feels deeply. That when a woman says, "I love you," she means forever. That her love is real, pure, and will never fade, no matter what. You believed that if you were honest, loyal, and gave your heart, she would protect it. That she would stay with you through every storm. That she would love you for who you are, even in your lowest moments. And for a while, it seemed true. You met a woman who looked like everything they promised. She was kind, sweet, she laughed at your jokes, she listened to you. She said things that made you feel like you were finally understood. You thought, this is it. This is real love. This is what I've been waiting for. But then something changed. You hit a hard time in life. You lost your job, or your confidence, or your sense of direction. You got emotional, you opened up, you were vulnerable, and suddenly, she changed. She stopped texting like she used to. She pulled away. She went cold. Maybe she even said, "I need space." Or worse, "You're not the man I fell in love with." You felt like you did something wrong. You started blaming yourself. You tried harder. You gave more. You begged. You explained. You apologized. But nothing worked. The woman who once looked at you with warmth now looked at you like a stranger, or worse, like a burden. You felt confused, angry, broken. You started to think, maybe love just isn't real, or maybe I'm not good enough. But here's the truth. That wasn't just a bad relationship. That wasn't just how things go. That wasn't your fault. What you experienced was something far deeper, something that has existed inside people, inside all of us, for thousands of years. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists in history, had a name for it. He called it the shadow. The shadow is the hidden part of every person, the part they don't show. It's made of instincts, fears, survival impulses, and dark emotions we don't want to admit we have. Men have a shadow, but so do.
Pour Listerine on your feet to clear toenail fungus? Nope. You see, when fungus gets underneath the
To admit we have.
Christ.
Men have a shadow, but so do women. And what you felt, the sudden coldness, the rejection when you became vulnerable, wasn't because she stopped loving you. It was because her shadow came forward. Not on purpose, not with cruelty, but because instinct took over. The same way a man can be pulled toward beauty without thinking. A woman can be pulled away from this without understanding why. She didn't change overnight. The mask simply slipped. And the part of her you were never meant to see was finally visible. That's when the myth of pure love breaks. That's when the illusion fades. And that's where your real journey begins. Because now you have a choice. You can stay broken, confused and bitter about why it happened, or you can learn to see it clearly, understand it, face it. Because the truth is painful, but it's also powerful. And Carl Jung's work, starting with the shadow, is the key to seeing women, relationships, and yourself through a completely different lens. Jung's discovery. The female shadow. Carl Jung was not just any psychologist. He was one of the first people to go beyond behavior, beyond thoughts, and into the deep, hidden parts of the human soul. He didn't just ask, what do people do? He asked, why do they do it, even when they don't understand it themselves? And in that search, he found something that changed everything. He called it the shadow. The shadow is the part of ourselves we don't show to others. It's not always evil or dangerous, but it's made of things we push down. Selfish desires, secret fears, hidden thoughts, and dark impulses. Everyone has a shadow, men and women. But here's what Jung discovered that most people don't know. In women, the shadow is not just hidden, it's incredibly adaptive, and often incredibly unconscious. That means many women don't even realize when their shadow is acting. They aren't faking love. They aren't lying on purpose. They are being guided by something older than thought, by instinct. Think about this. For most of human history, women couldn't survive alone. They couldn't fight in wars. They couldn't hunt. They couldn't control property or power. So how did they survive? They had to become masters of human emotion. They had to read people, especially men. They had to sense power, weakness, and intent without words. They had to influence men, gain protection, and secure safety through emotional skill. This became part of their survival system. And over thousands of years, this skill became natural. Just like a man's attraction to beauty or a child's fear of fire. This is where the female shadow comes in. It's not about lying. It's not about being fake. It's about acting from a place that even she doesn't fully understand. Jung said that the female persona, the face she shows the world, is often a mask. Not a mask to deceive you. A mask created by evolution to keep her safe. You may have noticed it. A woman says she loves you, but when you open up too much, when you cry, when you get lost, her mood changes. She becomes distant, cold, less attracted, less available. You think she's cruel, but she's not trying to hurt you. She doesn't even fully realize what she's doing. Her shadow is in control. The part of her that checks, can this man still lead? Can he still protect me? Can he handle my chaos, or will he fall apart? If her instincts feel that you're weak or lost, the emotional connection begins to shut down, not because she's heartless, but because her survival system is older than love. Carl Jung saw this happening again and again. He treated couples. He listened to women cry over men they claimed to love, while slowly destroying them. And he realized something powerful. The most dangerous form of manipulation is the one the person doesn't even know they're doing. That's the female shadow. She doesn't plan to test you. She doesn't plan to shift from warm to cold. She doesn't plan to lose respect when you break down. But it happens anyway, because her instincts are stronger than her logic, because her survival system is older than her love. So the next time you feel confused, when a woman's words say one thing but her actions say another, don't just ask, what is she doing? Ask, who is really acting here? Her conscious self or her shadow?
Wow. I mean, isn't that interesting? So that explains a whole lot, because you'll swear the girl loves you, says she loves you, acts a certain way, and then boom, they're disappear. I find this fascinating, because it explains a lot. Like me with Daria, she says she loves me, but we're not meeting. And why aren't we meeting? Well, the war. So she's trying to be safe, but she does mean what she says. And that's where it gets difficult. So even the longer you're with her, it's so you try to keep her comfortable, and that's where you need stoic. So when I got into a car accident, I need money for it, or I need this, or I need that, you just go along with it, and you don't yell at her, because that's going to get her shadow involved. How could you get into an accident? Or, I'm scared to tell the truth because I don't want to get, uh, a problem, or I'll lie to you, but for that, or, so a lot of it's instinct and not uh, the action. And then she's reacting to what you're doing. So you've got to be stoic about it. You've got to be clear what it is. It's okay that you got into a car accident and we can afford it. So that's really what it is. It's very, but how would you know this? And when I watched this, I was fascinated by it, because it really makes a lot of sense. And we have shadows too. Um, you might play poker and not tell your wife or your girlfriend that you play poker, or you bet on football. You might not want to go there with it. So we kind of hide that. I mean, I'm pretty upfront about it. You know what I do, but I can see there's always the dark part of anybody that you don't really expose. And I think that's what he means by this shadow. But I thought it was very interesting. He's got a little bit more to go. Just wanted to take a break on it. But this Carl Jung's very good. I was talking about being your girlfriend's friend. So I was bringing up Jenna and her friend Natasha. She'll tell Natasha everything, but does not tell me. She doesn't tell me the same thing she tells Natasha. So my point about that was you got to get and be Natasha to her, where she can open up to you. And then now I see where you're getting to the shadow. So she's telling her things that are instinct. Howard did this or Howard did that, good, bad, or ugly. But she's got to be comfortable and open up to you, and then you can understand it. So from our standpoint, if you're in love and you want to get married, or you are married, you have to become the Natasha. You have to be the friend that she opens up to. Then you'll avoid all the crap. She walks out on you. What are you doing? Where are you going? So I think I go through that with Daria a lot. I haven't talked to Daria in a week. I just assume she's getting her operation Thursday on her thing, and she's probably either up at her friend's cottage, or she's going through one of her emotional times where she's scared but doesn't want to talk to anybody. So she's doing one of those two. So I'm fine with it, because I now understand her more. She's being more open to me instead of before, when she wouldn't talk to me for a week, you'd be like, what the fuck? She's got another guy. She's not interested. Now you understand it more. And I've been very stoic. So she's opened up to me on certain things. Just like Alyssa, Jenna, they all open up to me pretty much. That's why it works. And they know I'm strong and solid. And I don't really jump on them. I just say, oh, okay, fine. And you understand the people. Like, normally it's their problems. It's not your problem. Like, Alyssa, I'm going to drive this morning. He says, I got a ride. I'll call you later. We'll hang out. And it's 1:15. I haven't heard from her. And the point is, but I understand that's the way she is. She just, for word of a better term, she just lies. She'll tell you that, and then she'll get into something else, and she won't call you. I'm surprised she called me this morning to say, I got another ride. You don't need to give me a ride. Okay. But that's really where the point is. I'm supposed to buy her a new phone. She broke her phone or something. So we're going to go to Walmart and get a phone. But that's the thing. So I understand her very, very well, but I don't get upset. Like, why isn't she calling me? I just know that's the nature of the beast. But that's where you got to get to. So you've got to be the Natasha to your girlfriend or your wife or whoever, where they open up and then you understand them better. And that's kind of what but this Carl Jung is very good. This is his, this is the name of it. It's on this Blackened Mind, a female nature. So very good. She's pretending. No, she's not pretending all her life fake. Like he's saying, see, these are people that don't listen. She's not pretending. It's her instinct that takes over. We all have instincts. How do you think I bet football? A lot of it is instinct, and I'm an INFJ, so my instincts are very high. So I'm going to bet that game, but I do a lot on instinct. Women apparently are very emotional and do a lot on instinct. So they're not faking. They don't, they just are doing it. My baseball picks are, where did it go? Our instinct. Philadelphia today. It's an instinct play. They're playing Colorado. They should kill them. That's an instinct play. Yesterday's Yankee game, we had Max Fried going with his 8-1 with a 1 ERA. Yeah, I'm going to bet on him. That's an instinct play. Logically, yes, but the instinct takes over and says, that's why I tell you I feel the bets. When I feel the bets is the instinct. And that's what I do. That's my little secret, is picking the games using instinct or feel, right? So I can feel this is a good bet or not a good bet. No, wait, you got to be careful. So my instinct keeps like Detroit over 8. I have an instinct. They're playing, I don't know who they're playing today. St. Louis. So my instinct is St. Louis has some pretty good pitching. They don't hit very well. Detroit hits, but they didn't hit against Toronto, so I don't know if they're going to hit. So I played it over. I still played it over because the ERAs of the pitchers were in the 4s, but that's where my instinct gets caught. Like, well, wait, good hitting. Should I bet them over or should I bet them under? Good pitching. And my rule is usually if I get a Verlander or a Fried or Scanes, I'm just going to put the game under or bet on them. So we use instincts. If you're playing poker, instincts. A lot of times with the gambling, you'll use your instinct. If you meet a woman, you're going to have your instincts also that says, yeah, I want to be with her, or no, I'm going to stay away from her. A lot of that's what the women are doing. They need you. Like he said, in the ancient times, they couldn't fight, so they had to learn instinct to have the guy protect them and take care of them. Oh, he's got money. He's strong. I'll be okay. I'll be safe with him. And that's, I think, what the women really, at the end of the day, want to be safe. So when Daria said, I'm safe with you, doesn't mean she feels protected in a fight. It means she can be herself with me. So I was happy to listen to this and then hear what she said. And I go, oh, okay, then I feel better about it. I am asking her about meeting in the summer, but this is getting ridiculous. The weight, and it's her instinct. She doesn't know to trust me or not. She wants to trust me. Then she's afraid of the war. Her instincts are she's Russian. She'll go to a country and they'll keep her. Or if I go to Russia, she's worried they'll put me in jail for being an American. And which she might not be wrong about that. So she's trying to protect me. It's just the stupid war. So, but that's her instincts, saying, let's not meet yet. I don't want you to get hurt. I need you. You're too valuable for me. So it's very difficult. With Jenna, we just meet out of the country. So that's what it was. So anyway, let's go back to this. But that's very much what he's talking about is instinct. It's not that they're fake. She's not pretending, but it's the instinct. So if we see a really pretty girl, your instinct is you wanna be with her, right? Because of her looks, not because necessarily of her, the rest of her brain, the way she talks or what she says, how she treats you. You don't care. You're just looking at her. You're attracted to her. But that's where you get in trouble because then if they're very attractive, they'll go to whoever can take care of them better. You make $100,000. He makes $1 million. I'm going to go to him because she's looking at survival and she knows she's pretty, but she knows she's only pretty for a short time. Once they hit like maybe 35, 40, their looks start going. And so they know they got this window in their 20s. But once they get to 35, 40, it's less looks and it's more psychological, mental type of thing. All right, let's go back to Carl Jung.
That question changes everything. Because once you see the shadow, you stop being confused. You stop being weak. You start becoming a man who cannot be manipulated by things others don't even see. Why she changes when you show weakness. Have you ever wondered why a woman who once loved you deeply suddenly goes cold when you show pain? One moment, she's sweet, caring, always there. Then you hit a hard time. You open up, you cry, you admit you're struggling, and everything changes. She starts acting distant. Her texts slow down. She pulls away emotionally. And you're left wondering, what did I do wrong? I thought being honest would bring us closer. But here's what Carl Jung discovered. A woman's attraction is tied to your strength, especially emotional strength. When you are confident, in control, and moving forward, her instincts feel safe. She respects you. She desires you. But when you break...
Okay, I'm about to go grocery shopping with my mom, but
All these commercials.
first you guys need to know.
Feel safe. She respects you. She desires you. But when you break down emotionally in front of her, her subconscious may read it as a signal. This man can't handle pressure. He can't protect me. She may not even realize it's happening. She might still say she loves you, but something inside her switches off. It's not cruelty, it's instinct. For thousands of years, women had to choose strong men to survive. That instinct is still there. Quiet, but powerful. So when you show weakness, her mind doesn't say, he's weak, I hate him. It simply stops seeing you the same way. That's why, instead of getting support, you get silence. Instead of comfort, you feel distance. This is why many men feel punished for being vulnerable, because they are expecting love to be unconditional. But nature doesn't work that way. That doesn't mean you should never feel. It doesn't mean you have to be cold or fake. It means this. If you want her respect, you must be the emotional leader. You must hold your ground. Be steady when things get hard. Because in her world, love follows strength, not sadness. And once you understand that, you'll stop expecting comfort where her instincts only respond to power, hypergamy, and emotional instincts. Carl Jung and many other thinkers observed a deep truth about female nature. Women are wired to choose the best mate they can. This instinct is called hypergamy, the natural pull to find a man who offers strength, security, and leadership. She may love you today because you're winning in life, you're focused, confident, moving forward. But if you start falling behind, emotionally, financially, socially, something inside her starts to shift. She might not say it out loud. She may not even fully understand it herself. But her feelings begin to change. She starts picking fights. She gets annoyed by small things. She loses respect. You feel the coldness, but you don't know why. You start asking, what did I do wrong? But the truth is, you didn't do anything wrong. Her instincts are just doing what they've been trained to do over thousands of years. Look for the strongest possible man to attach to. And if you start to seem weak, uncertain, or lost, her instincts begin to recalculate. Not because she's bad, but because she's wired for survival. The moment the illusion breaks. Every man eventually comes to a painful moment. He realizes the love he believed in, the one he thought was based on who he was deep down, was actually based on how well he performed, how strong he appeared, how much he provided, how much control he had over his emotions. That's when the illusion breaks. And for many men, that moment destroys them. They feel cheated, they get angry, they feel broken. They thought love was unconditional. They thought they were safe. But Jung didn't share this truth to make men weaker. He shared it to help men see clearly and become stronger. He didn't say, hate women. He said, understand them. Because once you understand how their emotions, instincts, and shadows work, you stop being confused. You stop reacting. You stop being controlled by things you were never taught to see. That's the beginning of real power. Jung's 3 laws to handle female nature. Carl Jung didn't teach men to fear women. He taught them how to understand them, and more importantly, how to handle themselves. He believed the key to peace with women wasn't control. It wasn't manipulation. It was mastery of self. And through his studies of human psychology, shadow behavior, and emotional instinct, he left behind 3 powerful principles, 3 laws that every man must know to deal with the emotional storms, the tests, and the hidden nature of women. Law 1. Be her mirror, not her servant. Most men, when a woman pulls away, panic. They chase, they explain, they beg. They think if they just say the right thing or show more emotion, she'll come back. But this is the exact opposite of what works. Jung saw it clearly. When a woman creates chaos, it's not always because she's upset. Sometimes her unconscious is testing you. She wants to see what happens when she pulls back, when she becomes cold, when she creates emotional storms. Do you panic and fall apart, or do you stay grounded? This is why Jung said, don't react, reflect. When she brings drama, bring silence. When she withdraws, stand still. When she tries to provoke you, don't take the bait. This doesn't mean you ignore her or become cold. It means you stop giving her control over your emotional balance. You don't act like her servant. You act like her mirror. You show her what she's doing, without needing to say a word. Because here's the truth. Women don't respect men who explain themselves. They respect men who can't be shaken. Be that man. Unshakable. Quietly powerful. Emotionally still like deep water, no matter how loud the waves above get. Law 2. Never let her control your emotions. Many modern men are trained to make women the center of their emotional world. They treat her like their therapist. They go to her for peace, advice, motivation, and comfort. At first, she might play along, but over time, she starts to feel something shift, deep in her instincts. She feels pressure. You've given her a role she never asked for, to carry your emotional weight,
Sorry.
to be your emotional oxygen. And even if she loves you, she'll start to pull away, because her subconscious tells her, this man is leaning on me, and I need to lean on him. This is why Jung warned men, don't give your center to a woman. She's not your lifeline. You are. Your emotions, your peace, your meaning, they must come from you, not from her, not from approval, not from validation. Because the moment you let her control your mood, she has to pull back to survive. She may not know why.
So basically, there's at no point do we lean on them. Do we? She has to be with you. She has to. Oh, Howard's here. I trust him. I'm fine with him. You can't turn the burden to, oh, I need Daria, right? Or I need her validation or her approval. It's always got to be Daria, I need him, lean on me, then me, oh, Daria, I lost my job. I need help, or I need this, or I need that. So you always have to be strong and stoic. And that's why we're doing stoic also. Teaches you to just don't worry about it. So, like now, I haven't heard from Daria in a week, and it's either the operation or she's with her friend up in the cottage, and I'm fine. Now, at first, I didn't realize. I go, "Where are you for a week? Why aren't you talking to me? Is there another guy? Are you not interested?" And it was always, "No, no, no. This is where I was." But her problem is, she tells you after the fact. So she'll say, "Oh, I was up at the cottage for a week." Well, it would have been good to tell me, then I wouldn't have worried. So now I'm not worrying anymore. I don't let her control me as far as, well, if you want to talk to me, talk to me. I'm me. I'll say hi, good morning, have a nice day. But I don't lean on her. Where are you? I'll say, I'm worried about you or stuff like that. I just want to make sure you're okay. But that's okay. That's being strong. She's still leaning on that. So I'm never going to Daria to lean on, or Alyssa, or any of the girls. I don't lean on them. I'm strong, but that's probably instinctively why I try to, have two or three girlfriends, is so I don't have to lean on any of them. They lean on me, and then it's me. What if one girl and then she leaves you and you're fucked, right? You're leaning on somebody. Well, here you always have others to help you. So, um, actually, Alyssa is talking to me again. She just said, "I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm talking to my ex." And then next thing, a week later, she's talking to me again. And I said, "Is this real or not? Stop fucking with me." So I never leaned on her, and I didn't care, because that's the beauty of having a Daria or a Jenna, is that you have the other gals. So if one does whatever, fine, I got others. I just substitute you out. It's a lot of it's always economics. I just substitute you out. You're Pepsi, I'll go to Coke or go to 7-Up. It doesn't matter. Um, but it's got to be girls that you like, that you're comfortable with, that you want to be with. And I just think we find more than one of those. Not, oh, there's only one and that's it. I don't believe that. Maybe 3 or 4 babes is a good option. Don't put all your gold into one basket. Well, there's a story I'll tell you. I was in the hot tub, and a guy at the club, and I don't know him very well, but we talked a little, and he says, "I'm getting married." And I said to him, "Why?" Now, he didn't like that answer, but exactly what you just said. I'm trying to understand, why are you getting married? Well, I love her. And I go, "Yeah, but you're going to meet other women. You'll be in Target and you'll see this woman. You'll see people here. You'll see people at the restaurants, waitresses. I've seen waitresses that you hit it off." And so it ends up becoming, are you sure this is the one? Now, all I was asking for it is, why are you with her? Or why are you marrying her, was what I was saying. And that's the thing. And sometimes if girls are too weak, you don't want to be with them. Sometimes you do. It depends on the attraction. Daria seems weak. Jenna's not. Jenna's very strong. And so I told Jenna, "You're a little bit too strong." Where Daria, I think I know what I'm getting. I think she's weak. She'll lean on me, but I understand that, and I won't push her away. So I'll have her. And that's kind of what I'm realizing. Unless she has many baskets filled with gold. Well, they all do. I mean, do I think there's another guy with Daria? I don't know. I'm sure there's possibly, but it might not be an emotional thing, might be a physical thing. You don't really know, but you just play it. And, you want to meet? We'll meet. You don't want to meet? I'll go meet somebody else. It's fine. And I think that's how it is. But I can be with this girl or that girl, right? Come on, how hard is it to meet, especially girls, that there's a lot that you're attracted to, and you just talk to them and get to know them, and they see you're kind of stoic, and then you just put them in the back pocket. If I need to pull out the get out of jail free card, I pull it. But I think that's what you're looking at, is that this idea that there's just one girl and you're going to be with her. She's going to pull the instinct on you. Her shadow is going to get on you because something happened, or you yell at her, or you do something to provoke her or provoke the shadow. You're fucked and they're gone. Then what do? I only have one girl. But if I had 2 or 3 girls, then okay, you want to leave? Leave. And then you go to door number 2 or door number 3. Because there's enough girls you can be comfortable with. I mean, that's just people. We're all people. So that's what I like to say about that. All right, let's finish this puppy up.
But she'll start to destroy the connection. So what's the solution?
A steamy, relaxing spa.
Fucking commercial.
Soothing eucalyptus bubble.
I hate when they do that because you're trying
But
to
she'll
get
start to destroy the connection. So what's the solution? Be centered. Be whole. If she adds to your life, beautiful. But if she leaves, you remain unshaken. You are the ground she walks on, not the other way around. Law 3. Use your shadow, don't suppress it. From a young age, most men are told, don't be angry. Don't be too sexual. Don't show fear. Be nice. Be polite. Be soft. But Jung saw something different. He saw that the most powerful men were not the ones who avoided their dark emotions. They were the ones who understood them and used them with purpose. That's your shadow, your hidden power, your anger. It's not evil, it's energy. Your lust, it's not dirty, it's drive. Your fear, it's not weakness, it's focus. Don't run from these parts of yourself. Wield them. Turn your anger into discipline. Use it to set boundaries and protect your peace. Turn your desire into ambition. Let it push you to become something more. Turn your fear into self-awareness. Let it keep you sharp and prepared. Because women don't fear bad men. They fear uncontrolled men. Men who are unsure of themselves. But even more than that, they respect men who have integrated their shadow. Men who are calm on the surface, but dangerous underneath. Men who can smile with power behind their eyes. Men who are not perfect, but complete. Jung called these men whole. Not good, not bad, whole. And once you become whole, you become unshakable. No woman can break you, no emotion can blind you, no test can make you fall. Because you're no longer just a nice guy trying to win her love, you're a man who understands himself. And that kind of man can't be controlled. Final words. Become a man who cannot be controlled. For many years, this kind of powerful wisdom was kept only for kings, warriors, and leaders. It was not meant for everyone, only for those trusted to lead others. But now, that knowledge is in your hands. You have the chance to use it to rise above the noise and to become the kind of man who cannot be controlled by others or by his own emotions. The world today is full of chaos, stress, and confusion. In times like these, we don't need more emotional men who react without thinking. We need strong men, calm men, men who keep their minds clear even when life gets hard. A man like that doesn't panic. He thinks, decides, and leads. A real man stays steady in the middle of the storm. He does not look for someone to save him. He becomes the one who leads others to safety. He doesn't lose control when tested. He faces pressure with calm, strength, and quiet confidence. Don't spend your life chasing love or approval. That only leads to weakness. Instead, build yourself into the kind of man who naturally earns respect because of how he lives, how he speaks, and how he treats himself and others. Respect is not something you ask for. It is something you become. These men are not easily fooled. They are not easily broken. They walk with purpose, with self-control, and with courage. Now that you've read this, the path is clear. The only thing left is to live it. Become that man. The man who cannot be controlled.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you.
So, in a nutshell, you have to get to the, like, Jenna was kind of, a little bit harsh on me. So I basically told her to fuck off. I didn't need to lean on Jenna in Italy, right? I thought she was rude and I didn't let her treat me like that. So I stood up for myself. I was very strong. Her shadow probably was testing me and didn't know what to think, right? She got turned off because I didn't get her the ring, and I just said, well, fine. I didn't promise you a ring, so I don't know what you're talking about. And with Daria, I don't hear from her for a week. I don't let that I don't need to hear from Daria. I want to hear from Daria. So it becomes, what do you need? It becomes being strong, where you are in charge of you. You're not in charge of them, but they're not in charge of you. So that's what you got to realize. I don't need Daria to say hello, to be okay, but it's nicer when she does. But I've never been really scattered with Daria. I just simply say, where the hell have you been? But I don't yell at her. If she says something, well, we did this or we did that, I'm fine with it. Oh, I was at Gotcha's at the cottage. Okay, I hope you had a good time. I don't, but by the way, you could have just told me you're going or something. But now I know when I don't hear from her, it's because there's no internet up there, not because she doesn't want to say hi. Or the other is, I see her online. That doesn't mean she's on WhatsApp, and it doesn't mean she has internet. She could be on her phone, because I did that with Jenna. It was early morning, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I was checking gold. So I was on the internet. I wasn't even on WhatsApp. And she texts me and says, are you okay? You're up. It's 3:00 in the morning. Because for her, it's 10:00 in the morning. And I said, yeah, I just had to go to the bathroom. But I wasn't even on WhatsApp, but it showed me online. So I think it means she's on the internet or on her phone. I'm not really clear. Could be she's on her phone and making a call, and it's 8:00 at night now. So I'm sure she'll be back, or the other thing is she's just worried about her operation. But now I understand her. And I said, don't worry, I'll help you. When we're together, I'll hold your hand when we go to the doctors. I don't say, oh, really, you do that. I think that's what she doesn't like about the Russian men. Let's say she drinks and they might not like it. Oh, I don't like that you drink. I never say that. I just said, well, enjoy, or whatever it is she's doing. I try not to, if she smokes, Jenna smoked. I didn't say. Now I might bring up, it's kind of dangerous. It's not good for your health, but I wouldn't tell her to quit, or I wouldn't say anything bad about it. And I think that's the key to it, is you got to be there for them. And that's what the shadow does, right? The shadow smokes, but you can't sit there and go, oh, I don't like you because you smoke. No, you can't. You've got to say it's okay. Then they feel comfortable with you, because otherwise, if you say you don't like it, they'll leave you. And even though we don't like it, I don't want her telling me to buy gold or to bet on sports or play poker. I don't want her to say that, because that's my shadow, and we like to play poker and bet on football. So I think that's kind of what it is. You kind of, you're strong with or without them. It's better with them. It makes your life better, is what you got a girl for. That's why you get married or have the girlfriend. It makes your life better. It's enjoyable. You're attracted to her. She's attracted to you, and you kind of make yourself better. That's really what you're trying to do. Not that she's a hot girl, and so you're with her because she's hot. You can't. You hope to get more out of it. She's hot, but you also get a better life, and she does stuff for you. But I think that's about it. I'm hungry. And I already did class number 1. So I'm glad we got this Carl Jung thing because I really wanted to show you, but I didn't have time. So today was a good day. We know brics, we know comex and Basel III and inflation and all that. That's what we got. I will watch that one video with Rick Rude on it about what the fuck he means, but I won't watch this guy because I've already watched him enough and I realize he doesn't know what he's talking about. So I'm not going to get upset at that. This I got to watch. This is our doctor. Number 1 most dangerous meat in the world. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to watch that. It's I'll report in on it. It's 25 minutes, but he usually answers it quickly. So I'll do that after when I'm relaxing. And let's look at our gold price. 32.27. So it keeps popping up. I keep getting it on the down. So it was 32.32, which is fine. As long as it's staying into the 32s, we'll see the bump into the 33s coming. China hasn't been buying, but I think they will start again. And the tariffs have an impact on it. You must understand that. There is a tariff impact on things that the costs go up, not the prices necessarily. They try to raise prices, but look at McDonald's. They put themselves out of the market. $10 for a hamburger, fries, and a drink at McDonald's that used to be $4 or $5. You can't shop there because they can't compete with even a Coney Island, which can't compete to a Chinese restaurant or something. So that's what you have is when you start raising your prices, you're now competing with things that are over your head. McDonald's is fast food, poorly cooked food, poor food. And if I can go to a Coney Island or my barbecue, I can get a hamburger at my barbecue place. I think it's $6. You get the hamburger, you get coleslaw or salad, and you get baked potato or fries, all for $6. Or I can go to McDonald's and get crap, and it'd be $10. So that's really what they got to be careful of. But so that's what the tariffs are doing. Maybe they're affecting China, but Trump looks like an idiot. They're 150%. Now they're 30% or 70%, whatever it is. And now he took the tariff off of Syria, which I didn't think was in Saudi Arabia, but okay, apparently it is. And what's going on with Saudi Arabia, I think he's playing Trump, and he's playing them both. China's buying their oil, and he's fine with it in yuan, soon in gold-backed currency, and he wants the gold. Basically, is what he wants. And the U.S. Then they're going to buy military from the U.S. What's the point of that? What do they need military for if the Russians are backing them now? So I don't really know what he's doing, but Trump, I don't know what Trump's doing. Nothing he does makes sense. Scott Bassett, the Soros guy, makes no sense either. And you got to be careful. Even these other guys were hoarding gold. Oh, no, let's be an idiot and buy Bitcoin instead and not hoard that. Okay. So it's just funny the way people are. Anyway, I think that's it. So I'm going to have, I don't know, I might make an omelet for lunch. It's 1:50. I'll go swimming later. Then I got to figure out what the fuck I'm doing for dinner. So I might tonight go to Coney. Anyway, I think that's about it. Any questions, comments, profit, anybody? Let me know. www.teaserking.com. You get my email there. Football season, you can then go buy picks for the week, month, or year. And we're pretty much set there. I just got to go in and change the passwords, but I got time for that. We're only in May. I usually do that about July. There's no hurry. There's no games until Labor Day when college starts. And yes, as soon as I know the college, we will start doing it. I know you've asked who are the best teams in college this year. I probably be the same cast, but we'll have to see. Georgia should be much better. Oregon just chokes. Their coach is a choke. So I'm not sure. Anyway, Alabama, maybe they're a little better. We'll keep our eye out for the quarterbacks and the pros. I think we know Cam Ward is nothing, and Tyler Shaw. I don't get it. Gabriel's the best quarterback of the draft, and Prime Junior. You've got to be kidding. All right. Well, we'll get into more tomorrow, and have a good day. Again, www.teaserking.com. I'm going to go watch this meat one, and I will report back tomorrow with what meat he's telling us. I don't like, he explains everything, but just get to the answer. Like me, I'll do baseball. Here's the baseball pigs, right? Boom. Here's gold. Boom. Now let's talk about this other, but you've got the gist of the video. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow.